Okay, so we talked about some algorithms till now. Mainly, we talked about Dijkstra, DFS, and BFS algorithms. We know that DFS algorithms are useful when we are trying to explore all the connected components of a graph. We know that BFS algorithms are useful when we want to find the shortest path starting from a particular node to all other nodes in that graph. So essentially, uh, single source shortest path algorithms, right? So today we are going to talk about, at least start talking about a few more graph theoretic algorithms. Mainly, we are going to talk about something called a minimum spanning tree. And we are also going to look at a certain type of algorithms called greedy algorithms, right? So uh, first things first, so what is a greedy algorithm? I'm sure that most of you already know what a greedy algorithm is, but uh, in general, any algorithm that is trying to solve a problem piece by piece, and it is not looking at the entire solution every time to figure out the best answer, but every time, every iteration, it is just going to pick the best possible answer that it can add to the puzzle and then keep on moving forward. So best being the keyword here. So every time if an algorithm tries to find out the best possible part to add to its solution, those algorithms are usually called greedy algorithms, right? So just as an example, let's see. So just as an example, let's say that we have this sort of a pathfinding algorithm that tries to find the path from this particular maze type of architecture where the black lines are the paths that it can follow. So if we want to find the best solution for this thing, so if we're, let's say, iteratively trying to find out the shortest distance from my starting point, let's say this S point is my starting point, and I'm going to start from here, and I need to reach to this goal point here. Now, let's say I have these two choices that I can make. I can either go towards the left hand side, that is this yellow dot here, or I can either go towards the top side upwards direction, that is the blue point here. So if we are solving this particular problem using a greedy approach, we see that among these two or between these two possibilities to solve this problem a bit more, we see that the yellow dot is closer to us. So we move towards the yellow dot, ending up at this location here. However, we see that since there is no path to the goal point from this location here, we have to backtrack and then figure out another way, that is the longer way that goes around this path. So essentially, that is a negative effect of using greedy algorithms. If you are trying to pick the best possible sub part of your sub solution of your problem, given what you know so far, it can lead you down paths where you might need to backtrack to find better solutions, just increasing your time complexity. However, greedy algorithms are also quite handy, and it's a very good, let's say, approximation or a heuristic, which in case, let's say that there was a path between this yellow dot towards this goal, then picking this yellow dot would have been the better choice, right? So greedy, and at that scenario, if I were to use an algorithm that almost like in a brute force fashion evaluates all possible paths and then decides that this S to G path was the smallest using this yellow dot, then it would basically add to my time complexity, right? However, if the path was not here, then greedy would have led me down to a wrong path from which I need to backtrack from to get the better solution. So greedy algorithms are sometimes better, greedy algorithms are sometimes worse. It's just the heuristic that you want to use, and it's again the trade-off between your time complexity and your heuristic, the function that you're trying to use in order to solve a particular problem. So the heuristic in this could have been, in this case, could have been the distance to the source to goal. If the path was not here, even if the path was not here, if we were using some sort of a greedy algorithm, we would have gone towards this yellow dot, more time complexity. If the path was here, it's better for us because it's a quicker answer. So those are greedy algorithms that always chooses the best possible solution, mini solution at a given point in time. So, Brian, good question. Was Bellman-Ford a brute force approach? So we know that Bellman-Ford was similar to the Dijkstra algorithm that finds the path, but with different edge weights, right? So what did Bellman-Ford do? And I was expecting this question, so that's a very interesting question. So what does Bellman-Ford do? Every iteration, it is going to pick an edge or pick a vertex that is the closest to a particular source vertex, right? So every iteration, it is picking a vertex, and at some point in time, if that vertex is not yet explored and it finds another path that is shorter to that particular vertex, then it flips. It says that no, the path is this particular vertex, apart from having negative, apart from using Dijkstra where negative values were not allowed. But essentially, we are always using the shortest distance to a vertex as our metric to pick vertices. So that is, yes, so DFS, BFS, and Bellman-Ford, Dijkstra all are greedy algorithms. Does that make sense?
I thought Bellman-Ford, you just iterated all over all edges every single time, and you just did that B-1 times. So that's why I was thinking it was a brute force approach.
Ooh, you're talking about Bellman-Ford. Okay, okay, okay. Yes, yes, yes.
Did I misspeak?
No, 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 no. You're right.
Okay.
I am wrong.
Because Dijkstra's algorithm, yes,
Yes.
you are selecting that closest
Yes.
neighbor, and I understand that's the greedy, because obviously you always want to be going towards like the shortest thing, right? So that's
Right.
why you're kind of, your goal is, your answer to the sub problem is in line with the overall goal of finding the
Overall.
shortest path. Whereas
Exactly.
Bellman-Ford is, you're iterating over every single possible
possible a path that can lead to a particular vertex, and then
right.
updating if necessary. And yes, I am sorry, I confused Bellman-Ford with Dijkstra, but yes, Bellman-Ford is a brute force algorithm. You're correct, but Dijkstra, DFS, all of those are greedy algorithms. Yes, you guys are correct. Okay. So moving on. So today we are going to talk about, so that was the basic difference. I mean, not, yeah, that was the basic difference between a greedy approach and a brute force approach. Now we are going to, so we looked, what type of problems have we looked at? We have looked at connecting, so checking whether a graph is connected or not, checking whether there are cycles in a graph or not, finding the shortest path in a graph from a particular source, and problems like that. Today we are going to look at another problem, that is the problem of a minimum spanning tree. So a minimum spanning tree is essentially, given a graph, you would need to find a set of edges within this graph that connect every vertex, but given this set of weights that we have for those edges, it should have the minimum possible cost to connect all vertices in this graph. Right, so imagine a problem where, yes, so imagine a problem where you have a network collection of computers all connected through various set of LAN connections or whatever, and they have certain set of connections. Now you want to, or you can imagine that given this graph, we have, let's say, 6 computers, and in order to connect to a particular pair of computers, this would be the cost to connect this pair of computers, right? So you would need to figure out a way that can connect every computer to this particular network, and also the cost is as low as possible, right? So we are looking for such algorithms that are essentially picking edge values, or edges depending upon their weights, such that the overall cost of connecting this entire graph using the most minimum edges possible is the overall cost is the minimum, right? So that is the essential point of finding the minimum spanning tree. This is a different problem than finding for DFS solutions or Bellman-Ford or Dijkstra and things like that, right? Okay. So for example, let's take this graph. Now, let's say that I have given you these 6 computers, A, B, C, D, E, and F. And these are the edge weights that if you want to pick this particular edge, you will have to live with this particular cost of that particular edge. Now, what I need is a way to connect every vertex, and what I need is a way to minimize the cost of connecting every vertex. So first things first, we say that this is going to be a minimum spanning, that is the minimum most cost, but we say that this is a tree. So why do we say that this is a tree? Because think about this graph. Think about this graph, right? So this is a undirected weighted edge graph, right? So in this particular graph, let's say that I pick the edges A to C, C to D, and also A to D. So A to C has a cost of 1, C to D has a cost of 2, that overall cost becomes 3. And then we also have an A to D connection that has another cost of 3. And let's say we are just bothered with these 3 vertices, right? A, C, and D. So would we need another edge connecting A to D, given that we have already got a connection from A to C and C to D? No, right? Because we have already covered all the vertices in this graph. So let's say that we are just bothered with this particular vertex, this particular vertex, and this particular vertex. So in this case, you guys do agree that just having these 2 edges is enough to connect all 3 of these vertices, or do I still need this particular edge here? Just 2 would suffice, right? Just 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can just skip.
Yep, right. Perfect. So that is what we mean when we say that it is a tree. A tree is a set of vertices and edges where we never have a cycle between any 2 particular points. So every set of vertices or every pair of vertices has a unique path going to them, because having a cycle in this scenario would not make any sense, and that is what a tree data structure is. Up to now, we have talked about trees such as binary trees or ternary trees and so on. But a tree is a general architecture or a general data structure where no 2 pair of vertices have more than 1 path going to them. So a tree cannot have cycles. So a tree is a graph that does not have cycles. Okay, so that is the first thing. The second thing that we want is we want this particular connectivity tree to have the lowest possible cost in this entire in connecting all those vertices. So think about this particular problem and imagine that you are given this particular problem. Then you can say that your solution would always contain edges that have as low a cost as possible. Right, we would be geared towards finding edges that have very low cost, and we want to connect our entire graph using this tree of small weighted edges, right? So given this set of weights that we have, 1, 3, 4, 2, and blah and blah, we would first be quite greedy and pick this particular edge, and then we would try to figure out what is the next possible edge there is that would allow me to connect another vertex, but it should also have a low cost. So the next one seems to be a C and D. That is fine. Now comes the fact that we want to find the cheapest network, but we also want to have a tree structure, and that means that we cannot have a cycle. So remembering that, so 1 and 2 is done. The next set of vertices, the next set of edges that we have is 3, 4, 4, 5, 6,